Hey guys, it's Andrea and the garlic scapes are starting to come up. So I'm going to show y'all what a garlic scape looks like, and today I'm going to come through and pick the garlic scapes off of these. Garlic shoots up a middle stalk kind of like an onion would when it flowers, and so that little stalk in the middle is a garlic scape, and it's what is coming out to flower to produce seed. So I don't want it to produce a flower, I want the bulb to get big, so I always come through and clip off all the scapes. And then there's two different kinds of garlic. So there's hard neck and then there's soft neck. I've read that only the hard neck produces the garlic scape, but I have been growing this garlic for 4 years and mine always produces scapes. The first year I planted, I did plant a soft neck and a hard neck variety, and then when I saved seed, I saved some from both, but then it got mixed up and I just save what I grow every year. I save enough to plant. So I'm guessing that most of these are hard neck because they produce a scape, but I'm not really sure on that. And elephant garlic, which I also grew some of that does produce a scape also. So let me show you what the scape looks like. So this here is the scape. They come up and they kind of curl down. This part right here would be a flower eventually, but we don't want it to flower, so we cut these off. And they actually are fabulous to grill. You can grill these and also just cut them up and use them in different things. They are harder than a chive or a green onion, so this stalk is a little more firm when you cook it. It doesn't mush up so much. It is pretty firm, so you have to cook it a little bit longer, but that's what the scape is. So I'm going to come through and cut these off today. Here's one that I just cut. And they have a lot of garlic flavor. So I'm gonna try not to get in, like step on the garlic. There's 4 rows here that go all the way down this bed. And so I'm gonna try not to step on it and come through and get this. So that's just from the first little section. So now I'm gonna go down the rest of the bed. Down to the end here, this whole bed is garlic. That down there is echinacea. And there's also some chives down there, but right now I'm just gonna go down this whole bed and get the garlic scapes. So there's all the garlic scapes from this bed. I have another bed back here that I need to go check and see if there's any garlic scapes on that one. And there's a couple that look like they got eaten by a bug, maybe. But that's okay, we can cut that part off. And while I was down there, I saw the first echinacea flower open. These are my garlic chives right here. I was letting them go to seed a little bit so that I could plant some more. There's the garlic scapes. This is parsley that's about to flower. And then in here, the first echinacea flower of the year is blooming. And here's the potatoes. They are starting to flower. Here's some thyme flowers. They're the tiniest little flowers, but they're so pretty. So there's a few flowers in there. So this is the other bed right here that I have of garlic. It's not doing as good as the bed over there, but I do see some scapes. Here's one. This is actually elephant garlic, this one is. So I'm gonna clip these. So there's the flower head. So each garlic plant produces one of these. And the couple of elephant garlic that I have over there, I already cut those a few days ago. So there we have all the scapes. That'll be garlic yummy eating. So I got all my seeds planted in my garden bed over here. So those are the summer crops like tomatoes, peppers, green beans, zucchini, squash, melons, all of that stuff. So that's exciting. But I turn on this, I have a sprinkler in here that goes up and over, and it sprays in here into the duck yard. Let's see if I can show you. And the ducks love it when the water sprinkles over here. It's like it's raining or something. And they really like it. Hi, ducks. Hi, ducks. They talk to me more than the chickens do. These little ducks. Hello, Mr. Duck. Hello. Hello, duckies. They like it when I pick some weeds and throw it in. What's up, little ducks? So they've got a nice shady spot right here. They're still looking at me. Under this pecan tree. The reason I got the sprinkler was because this is a lot to water and it was taking me a really long time to water. So the sprinkler was definitely the best idea. I just go outside my door out there because I have it hooked up to the hose and I just turn it on and let it run for a while. And so that really helps me to keep the garden wet for when the seeds are first coming up. So if you grow elderberry, my one in the front yard is not this big. It's this big because the birds are under here, so it's constantly getting manure underneath it and it just loves it. But it can get this big if it's fertilized correctly and in the right spot. And so all of these flowers here will turn into berries in about a month or two. I put this elderberry in the chicken coop because I thought that it would create some more shade for the birds in here, which it has, but it has grown so much. It is just so tall. I couldn't even reach all the berries at the top up here, but this is how healthy it is. So there's a better view of the whole scope of the tree. I had to trim it back a lot in the spring because it was getting in front of the gate and stuff that I used to go into the ducks. But elderberry is super easy to grow. It does like a moist spot because when I see them growing in the wild, which I dug up this tree from a forest over here by my house, it was on the edge of the forest close to the ditch and it was only about this big when I dug it up. But that was almost 4 years ago now that I dug it up and it's been here ever since. And so you can trim an elderberry any way you want. It grows new green shoots every year and those produce the flowers and the berries. So you could chop this whole thing back and it would come up again. And it does, it has little shoots that come up at the bottom and those are actually good for digging up and replanting somewhere else. You just have to make sure that you get some of the root with it because that way it'll survive. So you have to go deep enough to chop wherever it's rooted in the ground right there and then you can transplant it. It'll wilt for a little while, but elderberry is super resilient and it will come back. Another thing you can do in the winter, once my birds are having a little problem over there with one of the roosters. Okay, so once all the leaves die back in the fall, you can actually take, and you don't even have to wait for the leaves to die back, you could take a cutting of a branch. Let me show you. So, let's see if I can get this in here and I can see. So this branch right here, it has little nodes on it. So you could chop here past one node and then chop past another node. And you would stick it in water and cover this first node with water and this would shoot out a root. Then you could plant that and this part up here would grow a new tree. So you can just take these limbs when you trim it, which I've done in years past, stick them in a glass of water and they will actually root. So elderberries are super easy to propagate and create many other trees. I did try the method where I just clip the branch, cut it into sections, and I just stuck it in the ground. I didn't even root it or anything, and that didn't work for me. I've seen people do it and they say that it works. You can just plop it right in the ground and it will grow a root, grow the elderberry tree, but I didn't have that success because I thought, well, I'll just skip the step of putting it in water to get a root and just chop it, stick it in the ground. But that didn't work for me. But I have had success with sticking them once you chop branches, sticking them into water and letting them root. And I also have success with just digging up the root at the bottom, like the new green shoots that it sends up at the bottom, digging those up and transplanting those, because that's what the one in the front yard is I dug up a plant that was a side shoot of a bigger elderberry tree, and it was low on the ground, and I dug that up and put it in a pot and then came and planted it. So both of those ways have worked for me. And actually, since I've had this elderberry tree and since it's gotten so big and I do not get all the berries off of it every year, I've actually, because the birds love elderberry and they've been eating it, and I've seen trees popping up everywhere in my yard. I just mow over them. So, and it is super, from what I've read, super difficult to grow an elderberry tree from seed. If a bird eats it and then flies and drops it somewhere, then it'll grow. So birds, flying little birds, can do their job. And I am on the East Coast, and so it is a little more humid here. I'm not exactly sure how it grows in other places, but I know over here it grows wild in many, many places. And you can see it everywhere along the sides of the roads. And like I said, most of the time it's by a ditch. So they do like having a moist-ish environment. They like to be somewhat moist, and they do like a lot of compost or bird manure. That helps them grow really well. So once this thing actually starts putting off all its, because they're not all the blooms aren't open right now, but when it's open, it is just gorgeous. Guys, I couldn't make this video. I was editing this video and I had to come out here and show you the elderberry in full bloom because it is just so amazing with all its flowers. So this is what it looks like when it's got all its flowers on it. And I'll pull off a flower. Look at those pretty flowers. They're very tiny flowers, but they're so pretty. We've been using them in vases in the house because I don't think I'm gonna have any problem with having enough berries this year. But I love having the elderberry for the flowers also. I don't actually make anything with the flowers. I could make something with the flowers, but I just use the berries because I love looking at these flowers. I wish they would last longer. This is about 2 weeks after I made this video that this is in right now. So now that it's in full bloom, it's probably only gonna last a couple weeks. Some of them are already starting. So this one actually, this flower doesn't have, there's a berry. So there is a berry right there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what it looks like when it starts, when the flowers fall off and it starts producing its berries. And I just think it is one of the most beautiful things in spring because of these flowers. Thanks guys for watching. I'll talk to y'all next time.